pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I need a motion to adopt the agenda, but I'm going to seek a motion to adopt the agenda with the removal of 9K. There's going to be some more stuff looked into there. Is there, moved by Romano, supported by Gillette. Any questions? Please vote. Who's doing our thing? Somebody's doing it, right? Oh, okay. Okay, motion passes 9-0. Approval of the minutes dated July 18th, 2018. Is there a motion? Moved by Carabelli, supported by Sauger. Please vote. Motion passes 9-0. Public participation. Does anyone wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll close public participation. Presentations, department recommendations. 7A, Ordinance 2018-2, fiscal year 2019 June and August year-end funds budget appropriations ordinance. I'm going to call Steve up. Before I seek a motion on this, got to clarify a few things. So go ahead, Steve.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. What you have before you is a request to approve funding in the amount of $6,564,060 to provide basically temporary funding for 3 programs in the county that start before October 1st. And the idea would be to provide funding for these programs whose fiscal years have started or will start until the final budget is approved. So as you know, the last couple of years we've come to the board in September with a very similar request for programs whose year ends start on October 1st. These programs are federally funded, and they have year ends that either start on July 1st or September 1st, just based on their funding agencies. So technically they need appropriations now, and then we'll be back in again in September for the remainder of the fiscal year funds so that they can become or start operating on October 1st. So again, very similar to what we've done in the past. And this is a quarter of their funding, basically, or a half year in the case of the 2 July 1st year ends.
Okay, so Commissioners, we have 2 ordinances in front of us. Page 15 is the ordinance prepared by the Finance Department. Page 19 is an ordinance that was prepared by our staff since we create the ordinances. And I believe the difference is Finance used the old wording for budget appropriation ordinances, and the board staff used the newest wording available, which was in our last budget appropriations ordinance. So we can have a discussion on it, but I'd like to seek a motion to approve the board. Okay, that's moved by Commissioner Leonetti, supported by Commissioner Duge. Let me get down to this. Okay, we'll start with Commissioner Tocco.
Thank you. You answered my first question. And my second question is, Steve, you said it's very similar to what we've done before. What's different?
Nothing really. I mean, it's just the timing.
Okay.
The timing is all that's different.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Leonetti.
I just wanted to commend the board, in a sense, and our staff. I like the board version. It's a little bit more specific. It delineates the 3 programs that we're dealing with here, which, just for the record, for the viewing public, is Michigan Works, Macomb Community Action, and Macomb Community Action, in a sense, with those programs. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Carabelli.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Steve, have you had a chance to look at the one the board had prepared?
Not until about 25 minutes ago. I do have a comment about it after you're done with your questions, Commissioner.
Well, that's why I'm asking you now.
I just noticed a footing error on the dollars. I think the total dollars are off about $1,000 even.
Okay, by the way, this motion is to go to full board, so we can correct that, and that will also give Steve time to read this before tomorrow, so that there can be a discussion if there needs to be.
Yeah, based on my brief reading of it, it looks like basically a repeat of all similar sections in the 2018 final ordinance regarding capital projects and other items.
Besides the number part of it, obviously we'd like to look at it. They have sent us this with the 2017 appropriations ordinance by, I'm guessing by mistake, but we realized that the staff put in the 2018 appropriations ordinance, which was obviously the right move. Now, anything else, we'd obviously like you to take a look at it and make sure the numbers and everything roll forward correctly before tomorrow, but thank you.
Okay, and then the next question is, these are grant funds that are anticipated coming into the next fiscal year for them, and we're
Grant funds that we
forwarding
have grant
general
awards
fund
for,
dollars in the meantime to cover that until that, those funds come in,
essentially.
and then that will make it whole. What is the
Correct.
possibility of those grants not coming in?
We already have signed awards.
Okay,
So we just need appropriation or authorization to spend the money.
yes, sir. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Chair Smith?
Thank you. And I'll just state that we've had discussion, and we're going to continue having discussions about seeing if there's a way possible to roll these budget year ends into our fiscal year rather than theirs. So I know, Steve had mentioned it doesn't seem that likely, but we're going to keep talking about this so that we don't have to do this every year 3 or 4 times. So
Right.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see
for
what
next
happens.
year. Great. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other speakers. Please vote. Motion passes 10-0. Health and Human Services Committee recommendations, I'll take them A and B, both. Is there a motion? Moved by Commissioner Kraft, support. Support by Commissioner Brown. I didn't, any questions? Oh, give me a second. All right, okay, it's not pulling up, so there's no questions, please vote. Motion passes 11-0. Infrastructure and Economic Development Committee recommendations, motion to take in their entirety. Right, well, I removed K, so it's not on there.
There's still a few other no votes and a few other been cast and other items.
Those will be carried forward as they
No, they're not with our new system. That we said that, but they really aren't. Okay, so, they aren't. I'll explain that. Okay, so there's no motion for that. Motion for, you said A through. That's all of them. Oh, I'm sorry. J and L, okay. Okay. I apologize. Motion to approve A through I is by Commissioner Gillette, support by Commissioner Kraft. Seeing no questions, please vote.
Madam Chair, I'm having computer problems.
I,
My noes go forward.
well, I was not seeing if there were speakers, so. Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, the votes haven't shown up. Are there any,
Can I speak to it while we're waiting for her computer fix to Steve?
okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Now, before I go to Jay, I know that Chair Smith wanted to address some things with all of these going into tomorrow. So let me call on you, Chair, for that.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody. Steve, if you don't mind, I was going to talk to you a little bit about this. We had everybody had some questions on the contracts yesterday, and if all the information was submitted, properly, and So what we did is I talked to Crystal. She went through every contract, and based on our ordinance, broke them up to see what was there and what wasn't there. That being said, there were a lot of little things missing that are required in the ordinance. I've been talking with Steve about that, and we gave that to Finance. They're going to try to get it to us by tomorrow. If not, we're going to look to table this until the next full board, which would be on the 30th. I've talked to the Finance Director, and he said that that's not going to stop anything from going forward. Also, the capital projects regarding the key swipes, we're for sure going to table down the line because he's finding, some information on that for us too. So I just wanted you to know tomorrow may be a move to table a lot of these forward, but it's in conjunction with working with the Finance Department on it.
All right.
Anything to add or no? Okay.
No.
Commissioner Brown has something.
But why is this new? This is
So
n- this is not a new thing.
Don, I'm gonna-
why all of a sudden now?
Can I answer to this? What do
Please.
you mean? You mean as far as what's
Yeah.
needed to be
I
submitted?
mean,
Well, let's say part of the problem is the fact that a lot of these have never been, before us, right? This is kind of new in a strange and sad way. And, in partly our fault for, not catching this before, but a lot of these IT contracts have never been before us. So they've been going on, for quite some time, and we had this last month. Crystal is on a checklist now for them and developing one for all the departments, including IT, so that before anything even gets on our agenda, all those answers, all those boxes will be checked with an answer so that we don't have all this discussion that's kind of for no good reason in public. The committee chairs will look and say, sorry, I don't have A
if
and
one
B.
thing's missing, it's not going on.
Correct, right, and that's up to the committee chair, but if there is one thing missing, it's not gonna say that, it's something so simple that you can say, okay, I need this by tomorrow, and you might be able to put it on. I'm not saying that it's the committee chair's, responsibility, but we will have a check sheet that'll make life a lot easier for everybody, including the department submitting them, to make sure that they have everything required. There are different type of contracts, and, a professional services contract requires different submittal than, just a regular contract for services.
Thank you,
I'm
Mr. Chairman. I'm glad you were able to work it out. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Anything,
you.
Steve?
Nothing to add.
We've already voted on this. Commissioner Gillette.
I was just going to comment on something that Chair Smith said. I think I hope what we're talking about is getting more standardization of the items that appear on our agenda so that we know what to expect. There's a copy of the contract. We know when the contract was initiated, when it expires. There's backup documentation, and the departments know what we expect. So we don't blindside them and say, hey, where's this, where's that?
Well, we've
and
also-
they didn't know they were supposed to bring it.
I'll say that is exactly what we're doing, is gonna standardize this to the point where it's simple. It's either all here, if you're voting on this, come next year, you're voting on any contract, you will be voting on it based on the fact that all the information has been submitted and it's there for your review.
Yeah.
And you won't have to question whether anything wasn't there. And we're also looking at, we all know we had questions for department heads that weren't here, and we're working on that aspect too with the executive's office and trying to, that might be something else. that we need to standardize, right? If there's a contract or a request budget that, if it's from your department, that you should be here, because if there's questions that can't be answered, then maybe we can't approve it.
Well, I commend you for moving us down that path, because I think it's been sort of an evolution as we develop our ordinances and as we have changed a little bit what we want to look at with regard to the budget, that it has created a little bit of uncertainty maybe with some of the department heads, with some of the commissioners as to what they expected to bring, what
Yes.
we're expected to see. So
I
I'm
agree.
glad
Well,
there'll be a checklist.
but
of
I'm
the-
also going to say, it took some time for us to figure out some of these weren't coming before us.
Oh, no,
So
I'm
it
not
took-
blaming anybody
so
at all.
while
I think
it
it's all
took
good
time to figure
progress.
out
Yeah.
some of our issues, it's just we're having growing pains figuring out how to address those issues.
I agree with you, Madam Chair. I wasn't in any way saying that we had done a bad job prior. I'm just saying these are new things that we're working toward improving with every meeting. So I commend the work that you guys are doing.
Thanks.
Okay, so since we've already voted on that, I'll seek a motion to approve item J, which is the audio and video project. Is there a motion? Moved by Commissioner Duje. Is there support? Support by Commissioner Sauger. Oh, now before that pops up, I have to see if there are questions, and I went to item G. Well, I can write it.
Everything is getting forwarded to tomorrow's full board.
Everything will be forwarded to tomorrow's full board. If any of the items do not have all of the required information, I will ask for a motion to table that item to the next full board.
All right, so now that that's gone away, I don't see any speakers on this. All right, please vote. Okay, that motion passes 8-1 with Commissioner Drollet voting no.
Madam Chair, apparently I'm still having.
Okay.
I voted twice
I'm
on
not going to
that.
do the
Yeah.
count. That vote passes with Commissioner Drollet voting no. So we're going to have to. Oh, Commissioner Toko voted no as well. All right, would you write that down? No. So we're just going to do, a voice vote on the other one. Okay, so, item L, proposal Plant Moran Cressa Project Management Services. We removed it. Is there a motion for that one? Item L, Plant Moran Cressa, moved by Commissioner Brown, supported by Commissioner Leonetti. Does anybody have any questions on this one? Okay, Commissioner Leonetti.
It's more of a comment than a question. We asked the Deputy Executive Deldon yesterday if this was bidded out, and he specifically told us it was not bidded out, and that's because we have a good relationship with Plant Moran and everything like that. But I think we should tell tomorrow again, too, that I'm going to vote to approve this tomorrow. But I think it was brought up by Chairman Smith to Executive Deldon that in the future, even if this project is considered small, and even if we have a good relationship with Plant Moran, I still think it's good practice to bid something like this out. I just do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Smith.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, we've been talking about that, and I think that, between us and finance and, all of the board together, that I agree, we have to change our policy a little bit on that. I think it's it's nice and it works, but it's a little too, freewheeling, so to speak, that maybe there just needs to come a time that every so many years, no matter if we have a great working relationship or not, we keep everybody on their toes and, sharpen their pencils and have a process that we have to rebid. That'll be a kind of a retuning the contracting policy to reflect that, and Steve and I have also, we've started talking about that, so thanks.
All right, I don't see anybody else on to speak. We're going to try to vote with this again. If it doesn't work, then I'll do a voice from here on out. Motion passes 9-2 with Commissioner Toko and Drollet voting against. Okay. Item number 10, Justice and Public Safety Committee recommendations A and B. Is there a motion? Moved by Drollet, supported by Commissioner Sauger. And I don't see any speakers. Please vote. Motion passes 11-0. Item number 11, Government Ops. A. Is there a motion to approve? It just says A, okay. Moved by Leonetti, supported by Gillette. That's not it. Okay, I don't see, are there any speakers? No speakers, please vote. See what I mean? Motion passes 11-0. Item number 12, resolution establishing legislative priorities for the budget adoption process. Is there a motion? Moved by Commissioner Kraft, supported by Commissioner Romano. I don't see any questions. Would you like to speak to it or no? Okay, please vote. Motion passes 11-0. New business. I'll start with Chair Flynn. Oh, I apologize, Chair Smith. Go ahead.
That's funny. This is very quick. This is just a summary of what I spoke of yesterday about our meeting on prior to our meeting with the executive's office. So this should be a summary of that conversation that Commissioner Carabelli, Commissioner Leonetti, and I had with the executive's office. So any questions on that, ask me tomorrow. So I don't have to read it right now. Thank you.
And I'm just going to say, when this isn't working exactly right, unless we're doing it manually, it's very hard to try to run the meeting and get it right. Are there any other questions? Okay. Then we'll move on to public participation. Does anyone wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll close public participation. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Duge, supported by Gillette. Please vote.
You're my hero. When I grow up, I